data, no problem. Zabu allows you to buy or sell securities on the Altex exchange from anywhere in Uganda via USSD. Step 1. To buy, dial *292#. Step 2. Select buy. Step 3. Select the product you would like to buy. For example, bonds. Step 4. Select your preferred maturity year. Step 5. Select the bond you would like to buy. Step 6. Input an amount of 15,000 Ugandan shillings or more. Step 7. Your order has been forwarded for processing. And finally, Step 8. Your order has been confirmed.
Hello there, good morning and welcome to Financial Markets, your day-to-day show that gives you daily updates on the performance on various financial instruments. I'm Nampija Gloria Christine together with
Chiberu Victor.
And today we are giving you the latest updates as concerning the Uganda Securities Exchange. What do we have there, Victor?
Well, absolutely. It has been a while since we brought any more updates on the Uganda Securities Exchange, but it is indeed a pleasure that on this fine day we get to give you more updates on what exactly is going on the Uganda Securities Exchange. So breaking down the numbers as usual, we are starting with a total of 1,380,575 shares that were traded as of yesterday, leaving a market value of 92,794,086. But of course, it is a substantial decline as the previous trading day, because we're seeing an 89% decline in volume and an 87% decline in turnover, as well as a decline in particular number of shares traded in the previous trading day.
Yeah, that's really a significant drop, Victor, and I'm wondering what drove the decline as of yesterday.
Well, it seems like there is a slowdown in the market performance because we are seeing only 5 listed equities participating in trading. Of course, we are seeing only 2 gainers, leaving us with 6 losers. We're seeing East African breweries that led the gainers with a notable increase of 7.98%, and MTN Uganda following with a modest 0.02% gain.
Precisely, and looking to on the flip side, we had Centum Investment that took the biggest hit with a 2.34 share price depreciation, and losing at around 221.14 per share. And we had Jubilee Holdings, KCB Group, and Equity Bank that also experienced losses, being to other smaller ones.
Interesting. But moving on to Stanbic Bank Uganda, which led in terms of volume. It closed with 1.31 million shares traded, followed by MTN Uganda with 52,720 shares. We're seeing Cipla, and they closed with 16,600 shares, as well as Omeme closing with 1,200 shares.
Okay, and when we shift our focus to the market indices, we had the USE all-share index that increased by 10.16 points, and or you could say like 1.11%, closing at around 928.27. What does this tell us about the overall market performance, though?
So, Gloria, despite the mixed performance of individual stocks, we're seeing the all-share index suggesting a positive trend as of today. Actually, it is worth noting that over the past week, there's been a slight loss of 0.05%, and over the past 4 weeks, it's showing a 1.77% decline. Of course, leaving us with a year-to-date loss of 23.45%.
Exactly, and when we look at the USA local company index, it actually increased by 0.01% to reach around 279.70 points. So this translates to a 1-week gain of around 0.47%, a 4-week gain of 1.62%, and a year-to-year gain actually of 2.58%.
So despite the challenges faced by individual stocks, the market indices show a somewhat positive trend as of today.
Exactly.
And it is, of course, correct that it is a neuroscience scenario as we speak. And as always, investors will be closely watching these trends as they navigate the dynamic world of the Uganda Securities Exchange.
Exactly, Victor. And when we come and look at our top gainers, I think we should give our viewers a slight insight about these companies.
Well, particularly moving on to MTN, I would want us to start with MTN specifically. We are seeing some interesting developments within their world, and delving right into it, we're seeing currently their share price as of today is 170.03 Ugandan shillings, and it is quite a figure, isn't it?
Is it? Yeah, really. And it's actually intriguing to see that MTN has begun there with around 180.00 per share.
Yes.
Ugandan shillings. However, it has faced some challenges along the way, losing around 5.54%
Yes.
Of its value since then, actually.
Yes,
so
sir.
landing in the 8th position, actually, in terms of year-to-date performance on the Uganda Securities Exchange.
Right. Now, what caught my attention is that MTN Uganda is the 5th most traded stock over the past 3 months. It's been quite active on the market with a total volume of 5.69 million shares, valued at 968 million Ugandan shillings.
Interesting.
The average traded shares per session stand at 90,345, with a notable high of 1.36 million shares achieved on August 3rd.
Interesting. And we have a detailed breakdown of the last trading days of MTN Uganda. It seems like the market has been a bit dynamic for this stock.
Yeah, well, actually, it is always fascinating to see how market dynamics play out, and it will be actually interesting to see how MTN Uganda continues to perform within the coming days, whether it can recover what it lost or probably continue declining, but that will only depend on the market dynamics as they continue to play. But of course, moving on to a little more information on the MTN stock in particular, we were seeing headlines of MTN putting brakes on spending to shore up a profit position. So particularly we're seeing MTN putting brakes on capital spending in the half year of June, emphasizing the need to sustain its profit position.
Exactly.
So as we speak, the telecom does not explain the reduction in details, but indicates that capital expenditure and excluding rights of the use of assets, it all declined by 50 billion Ugandan shillings in the first half of 2023, leading to an increase in capital intensity of up to 15.9% from actually 18.4%, which showed up profits from 193.56 billion in the same period last year to 228 billion Ugandan shillings.
Exactly, and as we continue to maintain the stable EBITDA or earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and margins above 50%, and expect capex to actually intensely remain on our target of mid-teens.
Certainly.
Yeah, and MTN said this in its report as of June.
Yes, and well, the increase in profits was largely driven by revenues from voice, data, fintechs, and inbound data roaming.
Exactly.
Well,
and others actually included short messages, unstructured supplementary service data, or USSD, and devices which saw investors' earnings per share price actually of around 17.8% from 8.6 shillings to 10.2 shillings.
Certainly. So and as MTN continues to finalize their communication, we'll continue to give you insights on what goes on with their decision, how it is going to affect their stock performance as of the Uganda Securities Exchange, and of course the more details that they have not highlighted as of now within their report.
Exactly. And so what was that other company that had the biggest gain as of yesterday's trading day?
Well, looking at yesterday's trading day, we are seeing there were quite, actually, I remember highlighting that we had only 5 listed equities participating. So, of course, looking at the performance, we're seeing East African breweries leading the gainers with an increase of 7.98%. East African breweries is actually also showing remarkable performance on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, and I think it is due to its increased performance within their production units.
Exactly.
So, particularly moving to the Nairobi Securities Exchange, as of yesterday. It is actually, there was a lot of activities going on within this particular market. But Gloria, what do you have for us in terms of numbers?
In terms of numbers, Victor, from the Nairobi Securities Exchange, we actually had our top gainers and top losers coming in. But you could give us an insight on among the top gainers from there.
Well, top gainers, particularly the NSE, is indeed a dynamic market. And actually, we're seeing a total of 3,363,800 shares changing hands in 760 deals, with a market value of 41,154,481 Kenyan shillings, and that is that's a significant 56% increase in volume compared to Friday. But interestingly, a 28% decline in turnover. And Gloria, what do you make of it?
Actually, it seems like there was increased activity in terms of the shares that were traded, but perhaps the overall value of those trades didn't see the same boost. Actually, when we talk about the market movers, we had Longhorn Publishers that stole the show among the gainers with around 7.57% increase in their share price. They closed at around 2.70 Kenyan shillings per share. So how impressive is that actually?
It certainly is. And on the flip side, we had Total Kenya leading the losers with an 8.33% drop in share price, closing at 15.95 Kenyan shillings per share.
Tough day for them.
It really was. And looking at Safaricom taking the lead in volume with 1.71 million traded shares, and it was really quite the player in yesterday's market.
Absolutely. And when we look at the market indices, actually, we had the NSE All-Share Index that show a slight dip of around 0.02%, closing at around 93.35. So this represents a one-week loss of 0.15%, a four-week loss of 5.64%, and a notable year-to-year gain of around 26.77%. What's your take on that, Victor?
Well, with significant losses across the board, it has indeed been a challenging year for the Nairobi Securities Exchange. And there are some positive notes in the performance of indices like the NSE 10 share index, which saw a 0.33% increase as of yesterday. And despite the challenges, there are still pockets of resilience in the market.
The market, absolutely. And a mix of gains and losses, but that's the stock market for you actually. So we'll be keeping an eye out on these trends.
But particularly taking a keen look within these particular companies, I'd want to put our focus as of today on Absa Bank.
Okay.
Yes, and Absa Bank is actually, it has got some interesting developments, and we have seen a lot of these showing up within the Ugandan market itself, but particularly in the Nairobian market, it's been quite a ride for Absa. And the latest data shows that they closed at 11.85 Kenyan shillings per share as of yesterday, marking a 0.4% drop from the previous day.
Absolutely, Victor. And they actually began the year with around 12.30 Kenyan shillings, and unfortunately they have seen around 3.66% decrease in their share price appreciation since then. This places them at actually 35th in terms of year-to-date performance on the Nairobi Securities Exchange.
Interesting. Now, they've been quite active in the market, ranking as the fourth most traded stock over the past 3 months. So Absa Bank Kenya has traded a total volume of 54 million shares, valued at 650 million Kenyan shillings.
Exactly, and it's quite impressive, and that breaks down to an average of around 856,894 shares traded per session. They've actually hit a volume of around 11.6 million on August 14th, and a low of around 11,000 on August 4th.
It's fascinating actually to see the EBB and flow of the trading activity. Well, let's dive into the 10 trading days of Absa Bank Kenya. What's happening? What has been happening recently, Gloria?
Well, here's the breakdown, Victor. And on October 16th, they closed at around 11.85 Kenyan shillings per share. And there was a slight drop from the previous day, however, and the stock has been showing some volatility. But definitely something investors should keep an eye on.
Absolutely. It's a dynamic market, and I will never stop putting that out there. Exactly. Because investors need to keep understanding that the market is not going to go as you want it, but it can go as you have planned. Exactly. So looking at Absa Bank Kenya, it is right in the thick of it actually. And we'll be sure to keep you updated on any other further developments.
Exactly, and we will be back actually with more updates on the Nairobi Securities Exchange with a company such as Longhorn Publishers to see its performance on the year-to-date performance of it. Thank you.